Hello and welcome to episode 173 of Daryl Show Your Work. In this episode, I am going to be using an application known as MISP to identify indicators of compromise. All right, so before I do that, I just want to give my usual reminder here for those who are looking to equip themselves with the in-demand skills that will help them land cybersecurity jobs, whether we're talking red team, pen testing, or blue team threat hunting or incident response and everything else in between. Please check out INE. They offer several certifications and trainings dealing with that, and they do everything with a hands-on perspective. So not only will you be getting lectures, but with every lecture you'll be getting labs to then be able to replicate and to apply the things that you're learning in those lectures, and then you'll be able to then speak towards those tasks and towards interviews and towards on your resume to help be able to capture the experience that you're gaining through those trainings. So again, visit get.ine.com/Daryl. And if you use the product code INF 100-Brooks Tech, you'll get 10% off any of your purchases with the exception of live virtual trainers. All right, so MISP. So what MISP is an open source threat intelligence platform that's designed to help organizations collect, analyze, and share indicators of compromise. So the primary benefit of integrating MISP into an organization's cyber defense infrastructure is that it centralizes and contextualizes threat intelligence to improve detection and and response to evolving threats. All right. And so when I say indicators of compromise, I'm talking about any piece of forensic data such as malicious IP addresses, domain names, file hashes, or email addresses are used to detect and respond to potential cyber threats. All right. So with no further ado, let's take a look at MISP and all of its features. Well, not all, but some of its basic features. All right. So I'm going to navigate um, to where MISP is being hosted. All right, and that is at 192.168. All right, here we go. 111. All right, and I believe these pre-rendered credentials should get me in. So I'm gonna click login. All right. Now that I'm in here, all right. So this is the primary dashboard for MISP, and the first thing that I want to show is the date range. So it's basically listed from latest to earliest. All right. So we can see that the most recent indicator compromise that was captured here is is on January 27th, 2025. All right, so some things that each event includes. These are attributes and objects, and again, those can be defined as like IP addresses, domains, and file hashes. They also include metadata, and these can be threat actors, campaign names, and targeted sectors, and also more information such as brief descriptions that summarize the event. And then also I wanted to point over here to distribution. All right, so distribution is a setting that defines who can access and share the event data. So the distribution setting is important for controlling the visibility of sensitive threat intelligence. And again, it's going to determine how widely an event can be shared across organizations and communities. So we look here, the first entry here, we can see that this entry is shared to the community, where if we look further down, these are just shared to on an organizational level. All right, so that's what the distribution column is capturing. All right, so if we look at the first event again, all right, we can see that the first event is associated is being attributed to something called SharpPanda. And what we see here with this kind of this purple kind of outline around it, that's a tag. All right, and so tags and missive are classification labels, and those are used to categorize, events and attributes, and they provide context for faster analysis. They also enable consistent and automated data processing, and then they support threat intelligence sharing across platforms and organizations. So tags, they're going to enable analysts to more efficiently filter, share, ingest, and export relevant threat data. All right, so we go one row to the one column to the left. All right, so this where it says cluster, that's actually short for galaxy clusters. All right, and what these IDs do, they're structured threat intelligence groupings and MISP used to add context to events by linking them with frameworks such as MITRE ATT&CK or any known threat actors. All right, so with these associations, they help analysts to understand a broader threat landscape and identify adversary TTPs, that's tactics, techniques, and procedures, and it correlate events with known threat actors, malware families, and attack campaigns. All right, so by associating an event with a galaxy cluster, analysts gain insight into how and why and by whom the attack might have been carried out. All right, and then I want to show, if we look at let me see. I may not be able to show it on this whole screen here. See where it's at. Here we are. Okay, I don't know how I missed that. All right, so if we look at clusters here, and let's look at like the third line where it says intrusion set, right? And it says info. All right, so what info is going to tell us is that this is right here. It's saying gain access an event. All right, it's correlating what it's picking up from clusters. So it's saying that this intrusion set, all right, that basically it deduced that what it is that this attacker or that this threat actor wanted was to gain access to either a network or to a system. All right, so it's basically it's done that analysis somewhat for us to be able to know what it is that the threat actor wanted in the case of the event that is tracking there. All right, so if I go back to the SharpPanda entry at the very top, I'm gonna click this eyeball. All right, that's to view the details, and it's gonna be under the actions column. All right, so that's gonna bring me to a bit more information about a specific event that's being, or indicator of compromise, excuse me, that's being tracked. All right, and in this instance, there's two things that I want to point to, which is the threat level and the analysis level. So the threat level, it indicates the perceived severity of the threat. This classification is going to guide how urgently the event should be addressed, and this can range from high, medium, low, and undefined. So we can see in the instance of SharpPanda that this indicator compromise has been flagged as medium. All right, where the analysis level is going to reflect how thoroughly the event has been reviewed or validated from initial observation to completed assessment. So this is going to range from initial, ongoing, to completed. So we can see that this has an initial. All right, so there's only been an initial level analysis. So if you have incident responders that are using this sort of threat threat platform, they're going to look at this, and it may not be at the top of their priority list, especially if they have threat levels that are high and maybe in the initial analysis phase. All right, but or it may drop lower. Let's say if the analysis a level was completed, then wouldn't really be much for them to do other than maybe then to do some lessons learned or to track what were some of the remediation tactics used to address the indicator of compromise or the underlying incident. Okay, so um, but the thing to remember though with the threat level and analysis level is that both help to prioritize instant response efforts. All right, so those are just a few examples that I gave of how analysts can to do that. All right, so if I scroll down just a little bit here, we can see, all right, some things. We look here in the value column here. All right, so what we're looking at here are event attributes. All right. So what event attributes are? They're individual data points within an event, such as the IP addresses, domains, emails, or hashes that describe the threat in technical detail. All right. So so these can also, so these specific event attributes can also be further classified as either network indicators or system indicators. So for example, the right here, the this fully qualified website domain right here, and an IP address, those would be classified as network indicators. All right, and they're going to be vital for detecting and mitigating intrusion attempts. So these indicators, they often include, like we see here, the malicious domains, the IP addresses. All right, and the IP addresses, they're commonly attributed to command and control servers, and then suspicious DNA activity for outbound traffic patterns. So by identifying and blocking these sort of indicators at the network perimeter, this can help prevent exfiltration and stop lateral movement early in the attack chain, which again is ideal when you're thinking about like the cyber kill chain or the MITRE ATT&CK framework. You want to try to stop whatever event or instance going on at the as close to the very beginning of those frameworks as you can, because the further up an attacker gets in those frameworks, the more and more damage, or the more and more information that they're having access to, and it's going to be worse off as far as when you're able to finally either stop them or contain the incident. It's going to be more damage you're going to have to remediate, and more loss of a property that you're going to have to be accountable for. Okay, so another example here, when we look at these hashes, the hashes, they're an example of system indicators. All right, so with the system indicators in MISP, there are the measurable signs of potential malicious activities observed within the computer system. So these often include memory strings exposing fragments of malicious code, file hashes, and we can see here they're usually in the SHA-256 format, which is pretty. It's not the strongest, but it's a pretty strong hashing algorithm. All right, and these uniquely identify the malware samples. So if you know anything about hashing, they're going to be unique to whatever the underlying plain text value is, and if anything changes about it, so is that value. So it provides a level of non-repudiation. All right, so and then other things that can be considered a system indicator are executable paths or dropped files left by a malware during infection. And we can see here, like over in the category, how we have those, a dropped artifacts drop, payload installation. So this helps define some what's going on in some of the hashes, because we can't immediately tell what's contained in the hash values, but these categories help to define that, so we know exactly why it was flagged as an indicator of compromise. Excuse me. All right, so that pretty much brings me to the end of this. I just wanted to have a brief video to give an overview of MISP and exactly what it is, and how it goes about identifying indicators of compromise, and just provide some information about a threat intel platform. So again, to just kind of review some of what I did here. So I explored and I navigated the MISP interface. All right. And then I reviewed some recent cyber threat events, and then showed how we could prioritize those threats by reviewing event creation dates, assigned threat levels, and analyzing the progress within the event details. And then I identified malicious domains, IP addresses, and file hashes associated with the SharpPanda campaign in specific. And overall, just showing how these steps can offer practical experience in detecting and responding to cyber espionage by helping the guide the analyst through identifying and interpreting the indicators of compromise. And this is this is done again using those tags and classification standards and contextualizing the threats using structured intelligence with the MISP platform. So please like, share, subscribe. Most importantly, show your work. Make sure you check out INE and its certification and training services. You will not be disappointed with what the skills that they'll equip you with. Get your discount. The details on how to do that are in the show notes. And until next time, take care of yourself and God bless.